I was asked to sing with Mavis Staples on a gospel compilation called Oh, Happy Day. And, other than being totally intimidated at the prospect of singing with Mavis, I was honored. I don't really have much of a background in gospel music. I don't fight my ability to sing sad songs. It's what I am good at, so I must be built for that. I'm going to be doing solo stuff. The idea is to do small and off my beaten path, or go back to an old, beaten path, do some smaller things that I haven't done in 15 or 20 years. Just to sort of get my feet wet, because I haven't done my own material for a couple of years. I've been doing a lot of other things. I'm confused that there is a lack of faith in listening to and deciding what is a great song and instead going for these formulaic, bad songs over and over again. But that's what happened when people from beverage companies bought record labels and radio stations as opposed to people who love music owning record labels. I have a strong belief in creativity in humans. It's our biggest strength. I think there are times when a song can be a spiritual experience. Just making music, in general, is pretty much that. Everyone is tortured. Do you know anyone who isn't? You have this life in this body, and it's really fragile. But what you have inside is what you have to offer, and it's just as important as anyone else's. It doesn't come naturally to me, being the boss and telling people what I want. I find it very taxing and tiring. I love getting to be way down the line in the decision-making chain. I grew up Catholic, so I have these defenses about listening to anything with too much religiosity. Some of the lyrics didn't sit well in my mouth. One of my beefs is the patriarchal setup. Having the he, God, king stuff was hard for me. I love getting to be on stage with so many great musicians. I don't actually have to think very hard when I'm writing. I mean, there are times where it's a task, and you have to plug away and plug away. But then there are times when a song writes itself in 15 minutes, and you're just struggling to keep up with it. I learned a lot from hanging out with Emmylou Harris. One of the biggest pointers she gave me was that if you don't know the words, drop the consonants. That way, you'll hide the sound. I grew up as a Catholic, and there was so much that was beautiful there, and also so much that was troubling. The whole patriarchal thing, the whole male-dominated approach, really bothered me. There's an imbalance when if a woman goes out for a walk at 3 in the morning, and something happens to her, it was somehow her fault, and with a man that's not true. Often I have to move my body in a certain way, like exercising, to begin to get into the right rhythm for writing a song. God as he, as a patriarchal thing, is offensive to me. It's standard fare for America, he. Every time I hear that, it's like another blow against females. It's very radical talk at this point for females to say this kind of stuff. But nationwide I still hear females referring to God as he. Studios are designed to pull out all of that beautiful ambience you get from singing in a room, and then the engineer puts it back in digitally or through whatever machinery you've got. Along the way, I've had different advice from different music producers. I've been told to tone it down, that the quiet parts of my voice are appealing and there's harshness to the loud part of my voice. From the age of 12, I had an understanding that singing was something I loved to do more than anything, and I did say to myself, why not? But there were definitely some doubts along the way. Fame is a can of worms I haven't really had to contend with. I grew up listening to AM radio in the 70s and hearing all of that great soul and rhythm and blues music, which definitely influenced the way I sing. But singing gospel has made me a much more humble person. There are so many people who were geniuses who only a few people knew about when they were alive. It's occurred to me I need to laugh at myself more, and that I don't need to be some sad folk singer all the time. I don't want to be the queen of pain. I've noticed more people coming to shows, and I've had a feeling that they were from a part of the culture I haven't been able to get to before, younger people. I think on iTunes they've been experimenting with my songs, and the digital radio world has been very kind to me. I think listeners are hungry to hear quality. When I started performing, I played acoustic music, partly because that way you don't have to worry about interacting too much with other people creatively. Asserting myself in that way was not really a strong point for me. I was brought up to express myself only when asked to express myself, and then to do so in a way that's pleasing to hear. But I've always had a need to make my presence known. I was just sort of born that way, I guess. It's my natural tendency. One of the great things that I loved about doing solo, which I ended up doing, because I was too shy to ever try out for bands back in the day, I could sit there with a list of songs and paint away for the show. Music doesn't have to be fancy. I work hard and enjoy the fact that people want to come to my shows. That's simple, but I'm pretty blue-collar about it. I was rejected for a couple of adverts for sounding too sad. One was for Diet Coke, but it's a good thing it didn't happen because it probably would have been a big blight on my soul. It also happened with a fabric softener called Downy, and I guess the way I sang Only Downy made people weep. I come from probably many generations of singers because my grandmother had a really incredible voice and sang in church, and my mother had a gorgeous voice and was always singing around the house. I'm a big James Baldwin fan. One thing I liked about Silver Bell is that I barely knew how to play in the tuning I was writing in, and I just went for it anyway. If you're working on ideas, and you don't know what they are, keep working on them. You don't know what they'll be. A lot of things drew me to Texas. One is the wilderness. It's pretty close to wide open spaces, which I didn't grow up around and I love. You don't have to have a lot of money to have a view. The view is the sky, and it's everywhere. I love Texas itself. The landscape is remarkable. The combination of cultures here is incredible. And the history here is pretty remarkable, too, going back centuries. I have been told that I have been played at, my music's been played at funerals, deaths, births, weddings. Weddings, I find very surprising. One of the things that I have learned in the last few years is to stop being so damn critical of my own work. Personality-wise, I'm much more suited to be in a band and part of an ensemble than I am to lead. I never have been comfortable with the leading thing. I just started going into my room and literally going into my closet and singing into the clothes. Yeah, the Griffin are a really big family, and so I was trying to just sort of get to sing and experiment without bugging a lot of people. I just really need to sing and sing and sing and not worry about writing. Just by singing for pleasure, your voice takes you to what it wants to sing. And that is how the best stuff kind of emerges. When you're little, first of all, everybody smiles at you because you're cute, so you think the world is great. And everything is so vivid. You know, you're not clouded out by anxiety, and you don't miss things. You can accept that perception of yourself that you're getting too old to be interesting or buyable, or you can kind of do what you do and see what happens. I avoid subways like the plague because I'm claustrophobic. I don't always like walking down the street and making sure that I smile and say hello to everybody who's walking their dog in the opposite direction. But I do it. And it's a small, tiny thing to do. But to me, it means I see you. You're not invisible to me. Life requires things from you if you're really living it and are really alive that are really difficult and painful, and you can't avoid those things if you're really participating. I love distracting myself, just like anyone else. But I also feel a more urgent need in myself to make an effort, to be present, and to try to be something that is in favor of life, of human life.